Howdy folks, it's time for another episode of Noise with Ivan. Welcome. I was going to go through the rest of my CD collection. It's going to take some time to go through my CD collection. I have more, and I wanted to real quick go through the 3 inches. This is what I started the podcast. I thought it was super interesting. So when I started Noise with Ivan, this is what I was showing. I thought that 3-inch CDs were new to me, and it's what I showed off at first. And here I am with maybe a little bit more of a 3-inch collection than I had at one time. It's still growing. I haven't done much with 3 inches. They're really hard to release on, as opposed to regular CDs. You can't just get them from anywhere. Like Amazon, you can just order a spindle of CDRs, and they're all most likely going to work. But 3 inches, I've had a lot more trouble with them not working. And I don't have too much here, so I should be able to get through it all in one video. Eventually, again, like I said in the last CD collection video, I've been planning on kind of filtering some stuff out of the collection. But I still want to log everything or know that I have had it. So that's kind of the benefit of doing something like Noise with Ivan. You don't feel so bad about getting rid of stuff. Roll the intro. And here I will I don't know that I even have everything that we've released under Gates of Hypnos as a 3-inch in this set right here. I will go through some of the Fugazi stuff starting off that I got. These are really these are like sub-labels of Fugazi. He has a lot of things going on. Babestosis Demo. And these are the BIzcard CDRs that I'm starting with. So they're made to be like a business card. And it's actually, I'm looking to release on these soon. We have a release from Asmodexia that we are looking to put out. I also like a lot of the Chris Brooks singles, so I thought that it would be fun to have like an 8-minute format, and that's what this is. This is an 8-minute format. Probably the very shortest possible format for music. There are like 5-inch vinyl that I think are probably really similar to the BIzcard. I don't know why I'm showing another completely blank BIzcard. I'm not going to be able to say this name, but he's got some crazy ones. Again, I believe Fermented Cadaver is just another. Labels from Fernando, another Fermented Cadaver here. And these are Gore Noise releases. Very wet, kind of noisy. I'm someone who I prefer. Gore Noise has to have has to be very crowded for me. It can't be too much of it can't just be gurgles. You know what I mean? Gurgles can really take up Gore Noise, and I think some of the best Gore Noise is a lot going on at once. And sometimes, you say, well, I need A, B, and C to make a song. These are the 3 things, but you don't do anything more than that. A big part of creating any kind of underground music, any kind of noise music, any music that incorporates noise, even apart from noise music itself, is to have a lot of things happening at one time, and certain things appeal in certain places. It can get boring if there's not a landscape of sound. And I think it's so easy to technically make a noise release or a Gore Noise release that we can really make them a lot quicker than what would be. Yeah, we make them too quick sometimes. It's very, very easy to do that. This is a really cool one, Toxic Megacolon. And this is a label, seriousbussinesscdr.bandcamp.com. If you do want 3 BIzcard CDRs, seriousbussinesscdr.bandcamp.com is a good place to go. And I believe that, I'm sure there are some of these left. This is 14 out of 20, but that's the thing with noise. Alex was just talking about, you can get 1 of 10 copies from some of these distros that have been around since 2005. Like, at some of this, for some of that stuff, there's so much music, there's so much noise, which is really cool because it's something to explore. You're going to be finding things that are truly underground as a noise fan. And yeah, this is really beautifully printed. I mean, I lean towards more DIY stuff, but I mean, I like having that. That just looks awesome. I'm just going to show the front one more time. Yeah, cassette tapes are really preferable to everyone. Everyone likes cassette tapes. A big reason for the cassette tapes is that you can line them up on your wall. I loved cassette tapes, but the storage is insane. Like, this little box, as far as 10 to 20 minute releases, kind of, because these are the BIzcards are like 8 minutes, and really I could get a regular card box, like for like Topps trading cards or something like that. Whatever you have Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic in, you can just put your BIzcard CDs in something like that. But yeah, I can just fit a bunch of 20-minute releases in this thing. What? I feel really good about that, and I feel like that's how underground music should be. This is Nightmare Park. It's interesting. I just sent a really cool release to Derek Higgins that was a Courier release. One problem with Courier is all their stuff just says Courier on the front. This has some foam, some material here. And it's actually quite nice. It seems like something that doesn't fit in with the whole aesthetic of what we have, but it's placed in here, and then there's a little note on the top saying what everything is. This is from Inner Demon. That's a Nightmare Park release. And Inner Demon has got a ton of releases available. A lot of, like, you couldn't even... And Not of the Flesh is getting to that point because you can put so much out on CDR. But Inner Demon is one of these labels that just has so much stuff and stuff sitting around. I asked him if he wanted to do a trade, and he was like, "I don't have room. I have to just sell everything. I can sell everything to you in bulk." I was like, "No, never mind." Because I have the same problem. We make this stuff for the love of the game, and there are people who buy these, and I think we all like collecting them. But yeah, it's hard when you put out a lot of releases and you do limited runs, like 5 copies or 15 copies, and I've been reducing the amount of copies I do as much as I can. Sometimes I really want to do like 10 copies, 15 copies. Can't do that. Got to stick with like less than 10, single digits with these types of things, because they're not necessarily going to sell. But oh my goodness, collecting them, just having a little box with all of this stuff. This is almost like a DVD case right here. This is Bunny Chimera. I mentioned 56K recordings. The first few episodes I did were all about 56K. I still have a poster over there, and it's got that little clasp there. I just wanted to show the art without the disc in it. But yeah, this will go to about 20 minutes, and many tracks. These are very condensed noise artists that we had on 56K. I'll see if I can pull up. Oh no. But there's so many artists that made a lot of noise, and I did the Contrite Heart Aux series on Militant Liturgy early on, and this was never released, actually. legitimately. If you ask me for it, I might have a copy for you. And I think I gave one to Oleon. Tremos, Bear Pills, one of his shorter releases, under PRZ, as opposed to the normal walls that he kind of does. Quiet Elsewhere is Cold Light, misprint on the front. On the colored paper. This was one of the coolest things I have. I meant to go all the way to headset that was on 56K. I did not do that. Carcass rehearsals. This is kind of a rare, I believe it's a bootleg, but it's from their rehearsals. So this is just really cool to have. I got this when I was buying CDRs in bulk. And I have done a lot of that, and that's a handful of these I did get in bulk. But yeah, Carcass is one of those bands that's just so collectible. Classic gore grind or grindcore. I don't know. Yeah, wow. And there, you know, that's just kind of a classic. It's like when you're digging through a lot of punk and hardcore stuff, and then Metallica or death metal, and then you get a Metallica record. You're like, what? This is from Fugazi directly, not Fermented Cadaver, not anything like that. Just straight up Fugazi. More gore noise. Dry Eyes is an artist who is very experimental. This goes with the Nothing to See Here compilation. It comes with 2 discs and then a 3-inch. And my good friend, the Angel of the Enemy, is on that one, which is good. I'm sure I know a lot more people now, but when I first started out, I worked with Angel of the Enemy, and he was on 56K. And then I looked at 56K, and they had some cool stuff, so I bought it all. And I think I have everything that they put out. There's also a Zombie Bot 3-inch, but it's in one of those cardboard 5-inch sleeves, so you wouldn't know it was a 3-inch just by looking at it. Dry Eyes is noise, but on the side of classical music, not really in the noise. You know, he definitely takes a lot from this, from 2017. And I talked about Dry Eyes in the last one. He's a very depressing person to talk to. But these noise improvisations, when I was first getting into noise, I had just come across Dry Eyes and became a big fan, listened to all these CDs a few times. This was not noise. This was experimental, but, you know, leaning toward jazz and all that, like avant-garde jazz, but with a modern twist. Really cool. Actually, I probably should have sent some Dry Eyes to Derek. I didn't even really think enough about it. But it reminds me of like Discus Music and Martin Archer and all that stuff. I've got a few more from Inner Demon here. Fail. Gorgeous presentation here. And this is out of 42 copies. I went back to the first few things that he had released, because I'd picked a handful of random things from his label earlier on when I was shopping, but then I went later on. I went back and got some of the first things that were released by Inner Demon Records, and this was one of them. This was one of the earlier things, and as you can see earlier on, as many of us make the mistake, 42 copies of this, which is a lot for noise CDRs. Hallucinocide and Novasac, 32 out of 42. Again, gorgeous presentation. Oof. And this one's straight black and white. Again, 42. And these are all 32 out of 42. Huh. FFI digital. I didn't open these up to show, and I love these sleeves. They're very heavy duty. Yeah, wow. This is much like what we got in the Nightmare Park box set. I'm not going to pull any more out. It's kind of hard to get this out of here. But you want to talk about the Underground. The Underground is in this format right here. Yeah, I feel a little bit bad because on the last episode I was talking about, and I have many times before said not to buy CDRs online, but to buy them from the labels, because the labels will give you discounts. I started putting stuff on eBay because I know that there's going to be people shopping for bulk CDs and things like that on eBay, and that's a way to clean up some space. And I have a lot of space that needs to be cleaned up. I had 2 of the FFI digital releases. That one's 28 out of 42 as opposed to the 32 that I kept getting. This is one of our releases. And this is why I was sending Ollie on releases. And I sent this to Derek as well. Unearthed. He is one of the greatest. I was a little bit frightened because they put the amount of time, and I said, we might have to cut this short because I don't know that 21 minutes and 38 seconds is going to fit on a 3-inch, but it did. Luckily it did. It was so crazy. Sometimes when you have... I have to have quite a bit of involvement in at least the back covers for my comfort. And, yeah. Really cool releases. Janky Funeral. So Kubatu Asparagus is a noise wall artist, but he does regular chaotic harsh noise as well. And Janky Funeral is the alias that he uses for that, and he releases on 3-inch CDs as opposed to ooh, that's legit. That's stickers on there. I love the way this looks on Grandisto's production. I'll show the banner. Most of his stuff is No Skinny Jeans. So, and I didn't realize that this was on another, because I think I bought this from him or traded it. I've bought from Kubatu Asparagus and traded with him quite a bit. But that's really cool. That tag is really cool. The way that this looks is really cool. Nuns with Guns. And this is on, as I mentioned, No Skinny Jeans, and it's an edition of 5. All these are an edition of 5. I feel like the walls, the Kubatu Asparagus releases, are out of 10. But let me tell you something. CDRs are expensive. They're a lot more, or 3-inch CDRs are expensive compared to 5-inch CDRs. 5-inch CDRs, easy. You can release on those. And that's just something I like. I like that we can have a mass. What is the people's format? And I think it's the sleeved CDRs. Love them. Unpleasant. And this also has the spray painted disc and classic noise. Flash Mob. Classic noise style, I guess, is the word I was looking for. Back rooms and dark corners. Uh-oh. Printable disc. Really cool. I didn't expect Chaotic Bath to be so good. Hexen Soldat, this is a black metal, avant-garde black metal artist leaning towards noise, so he did release with us and Gates of Hypnos. These are the ones that are blue on the back, And then I would just, okay, so it looks like I made 12 copies. And we were looking to do more with him, and I really need to reach out to him again because he has great stuff. I'm a pretty big fan of his. This was an edition of 3. There were 3 alternate covers, and I actually forgot, this is my release, I forgot to put my name on it. I put the artist's name that did the cover on it, but for each of those, because that's the differentiation. It's like, who's the artist that you want? I never put my name on it, so there's going to be people listening to that being like, this music is so bad, I wish I could trash this artist, and they won't know that it was from me. You could probably look it up and find out. This is an edition of 25. 4 out of 25 side-scroller thumb scabs. I want to say that this is Saurophagus Entertainment, but I want to say that the guy who does this project is Fermenting Sewage, but I'm not sure. You'll definitely get a lot of these from... You can definitely get side-scroller thumb scabs from eBay and bulk Gornois lots. I've come across a handful of them. I've given away a handful of them. This is another Fugazi. I wish I had these organized. I apologize, but this is another Hereditary Gingival. This wasn't long ago that I was showing the BIzcards in this itself. 3-inch CDRs is a cold cartoon guy on the cover. When I first got back to the States in December. So it wasn't too long ago when I showed some of these things. Vasospasm. Austin, Texas. Artist released with us. Pretty cool. She was arranging shows. And I have been asked to do shows several times. I like to stay in my hidey hole, but eventually I'm going to break down and do some shows. Pulling on ropes. It was a demo. This was intended to be used for Wisdom Tooth, or Yuri Decoro. I had put a handful of demos together, and I only used one of them, which was Author. So these photographs were used for those, and I wish I had worked harder. I always wish I had worked harder. But they were just demos at the time. I just didn't know how I was going to rework it. How am I going to do it better? I feel like if I ever try to recreate a demo better, it doesn't go well. This is a printed disc because it's... Sorry, I never showed the front. Headset Bad For You. Beautiful. Beautiful 56K recordings. Yeah, that just nailed it for me. That was the start. It was the start of Noise with Ivan, the start of me working with CDRs. Headset Bad For You. Alright. That was really quick going through these. I think because I've gone through them before, I didn't really feel that much need to elaborate. And then I'm going to get through, I think, starting in the Hailing Her Heaven section of my regular 5-inch CD collection. Check out the 5-inch CD collection. It's obviously a lot more extensive. And check out notoftheflesh.bandcamp.com if you want anything like that. I also mentioned Inner Demon. Inner Demon is around, alive and kicking. I can't really speak for the Gore Noise labels. They're so in and out. But Inner Demon and Not of the Flesh definitely have got you covered on 3-inch CDRs, 5-inch CDRs, if you are in the market for putting a collection together, kind of like what I got right there. Again, I'm also putting bulk on eBay, trying to put bulk on eBay. I want to put bulk on eBay. Gonna give it a shot. Gonna see what's happening. Oh, there's no coffee in here. Oh, here's the coffee cup. Go shopping. Have fun. This is the cheapest physical format of music. CDRs. You just put a giant collection together. It'll be fun. Trust me. Trust me. Alright, that's all I got. Listen to Yuri Decoro. Check out the new releases from Not of the Flesh. And listen to the new releases on Bandcamp or Gates of Hypnos, gohrecordings.bandcamp.com. Premo has been putting out a lot of projects recently. Spank Hookers, Hailing Her Heavens. I put out Adoration of Winter on CD for him. Yori Decoro's on CD. My collaboration with Woods Mattress. So if you're more interested in the Woods Mattress stuff as opposed to the full Yori Decoro album, The Old Man is available with his individual tracks on CD, and there's so much more coming. We have a lot of projects that we're looking to put out, a lot of new things. I'm gonna put a thing right here and here, I think, my latest video or a recommended video, and the albums referenced. The albums reference playlist just has a bunch of albums, but I try to, when I'm editing the videos, if I mentioned an album and I'm watching it on YouTube right there, I like to put it into that playlist just so that it's ready for you if you want to check that out. It's all kinds of stuff that I have listened to in the past or was listening to that I'll just throw in there. So it's just a big playlist of mostly full albums, I believe. Thank you so much, everyone, for your support, for watching the videos. It does me a great deal of benefit. Come back next week. I will show you more CDs or get back to reviewing music the way I do. And let me know, do you like the collection videos? Should I make collection videos? I don't really know. I've never had a big audience. So do you want me to show the collection, or do you want me to do a review? Do you need my intellect? Godspeed.